Ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode, we'll be reviewing Evil Dead Rise. But, of course, before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by No Stairs Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm No Stairs Nathaniel. I don't use any stairs. I just climb.
You're scared of them, I heard. You're scared of stairs?
Terrified of stairs. That's why I use a rope ladder that I keep with me.
Or like a little grappling hook sometimes?
Nope. Just a rope ladder.
I feel like that'd
or just
be
a rope.
convenient. Just a rope.
Yep. If I can't just throw it up there and get it hooked on something, I just don't go up there. It's very inconvenient, but it's how I live my life.
I'm getting an echo from someone. Maybe we're good.
Ooh.
Did for a second. Anyway, well, I hope you get over that fear. I think it'd make everyone's life easier.
It's not as bad as you think. There's a lot of elevators now.
True. Yeah. Elevators, escalators.
Eels,
yeah. Also joining us today is Cheese Grater Tyler Vidalis.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
Good. Did you say cheese grater?
Yeah.
he did.
Bet.
He did.
Is that like an Aaron Rodgers thing? You trying to poke the bear here?
Oh, I mean, it could have been an Aaron Rodgers thing.
I went over.
How are you?
That was a great joke, Adam. If that was a joke, that was phenomenal.
It was not. That was not the joke.
No, just accept it. Just accept it.
I'm gonna roll with it. Yeah, I'm gonna roll with it. How are you feeling about that trade, Ty?
I'm cool with it. Obviously, Jets didn't have a second option throughout all this. They've made that pretty clear, and Green Bay has also made it very clear that they're just moving forward with Jordan Love, and they don't really care what happens to Rodgers, regardless of whether he stayed or not. So it's bound to happen sooner or later. I've had 30 plus years of two quarterbacks, and it's always tough to see him go, but I'm glad he's moving on to different things, and we'll see how he does.
Hopefully he does well. And thank God he's not in the fucking Bears division anymore. Get him out.
Yes, sir.
Get him out. Bears are going to the Super Bowl this year. Calling it out.
Well,
yeah, I don't know if I'd place a bet on that, but like playoffs, I'm feeling kind of confident we may have a chance at the playoffs.
Now, would you have to face Rodgers in the playoffs or the Super Bowl?
No, that wouldn't be to the Super Bowl, which we probably aren't making it that far.
But if you did,
not this year,
it'd be very funny.
Yeah. But division-wise, I mean, you could probably make a case that we may have the best quarterback in the division, which for football, that goes an awfully long way. When you got the best quarterback
aren't too far off.
I'm telling you, it's close.
Hey, you just wait. Love's going to come through.
Love.
I hope not.
Lovey Smith, he's coming back.
Jordan Love. He's a Green Bay's quarterback.
Oh. Yeah, is he going to be another fucking Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers?
I hope so, man.
Years and then turns into the GOAT.
Kid's got a lot of talent, so I'm hoping that he picks up things quick.
I'm not. Hope he sucks. Rounding out the squadron today, of course, is Big Critter BlakeHolder.
Hey, what up?
Big Critter guy?
Or just... Not really, man. Something about like arachnids and insects just drives me insane. I used to be terrified of spiders.
Right.
Growing up, I think I may have had a phobia. I don't think I was ever diagnosed of that. But like as a little boy, right, you're outside playing around. Like you've had friends who will have like a water bottle, put it upside down, put the spider inside of it, right, and close the cap.
Yeah.
Like I had friends who did that, and I couldn't even touch the water bottle that had the spider inside.
Jeez. Okay.
So yeah, I was definitely terrified of spiders for
pretty
much my entire life until I got to college, and my friends, roommates, teammates, whatever term you want to put on them, all great gentlemen I love to this day, wouldn't kill the spiders for me. because by that point I was close to being a grown man, so I had to man
course.
up and do it myself.
Right. Good on them, honestly. I bet that
Oh,
made
for
you overlook
sure.
a lot of things.
It did. It did.
Good.
Sometimes you got to jump into the fire.
Right,
Sometimes some
exactly.
shit.
Some tough love too. Guys, I heard a theory earlier this
Hmm.
week that I hadn't really heard before, as far as like kind of not the downfall, but the decline of movie theaters.
Yes.
And I was interested to see your guys' thoughts because it actually is not too far off, I don't think. But this guy, it was from TikTok. I don't know the guy's name, but I was watching TikTok. He was like explaining how another big thing that has changed with movie theaters, not just pre-pandemic, but they kind of been declining a little bit over the past decade or so, slowly.
Hmm.
And a lot of people have been blaming streaming services, of course, but I don't think he's like a lot of people haven't considered home movie watching and entertainment watching has just gotten tremendously better with new TVs and sound bars and sound systems that are more affordable and stuff compared to like back in the day. It just wasn't it. Like not nearly the quality. TVs not HD, VHS not the best quality, that kind of thing. I was thinking about it, I was like, that could be a very logical either secondary or primary reason or just contributing factor to our kind of decline in movie theaters. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be. I don't know if that's gonna have any more or less like contribution than just, I don't know, mall culture going down as well too. Like people not going to the movie theaters as a place to hang out or anything like that as well too. Plus,
sure.
they've priced themselves out of the teenagers with an afternoon free and $10 to spare
Uh-huh.
market, as well too. So
Yeah, it's
I
Yeah,
don't
I agree.
know.
I was going to go back to the pricing point
Yeah.
where when I was in middle school, early high school, right, that's an easy thing to do with buddies. You can spend $12, right, and kind
Right.
of get situated at the movie theater. Where now it's like at that age, you couldn't even go with a friend without getting out the door without probably $40.
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's tough. Yeah, definitely think those contribute too. But I hadn't really thought about it like that because if I want to watch a movie, the difference between the theater and my OLED
Yeah.
isn't.
I mean, I don't know.
There's a difference, obviously, and that's why I like to go to Dolby because we appreciate the quality. But at the end of the day, if I watch that movie, I don't feel like I'm losing that much.
Yeah, but I don't
Um,
know that that's got anything more to do with it than like the theater companies making or
right.
bringing things to digital on demand. Anyways, the
Mhm.
reality is if you couldn't get that stuff, then you wouldn't be able to stay at home and watch it. And piracy's a
Sure.
lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I pirate much myself, but point still stands. A lot of people do, like Nathaniel, apparently.
I don't do that.
It's crazy that that's like still a thing.
Pirating?
Yeah.
They're gonna bring it back here in a minute when HBO decides to suddenly start running ads, and
Suddenly.
well, then when they
It's
transition to Max, we're getting ads, and then
yeah. Well,
found out
you can pay for the
today.
ad-free version.
Yeah, well, for an extra dollar coinage.
$5.
Yeah, so i.e. people gonna pirate. And I'm for it. If the man's costing you too much money, pirate that shit.
Yeah, all these streaming services increasing the prices is not ideal.
Speaking of which as well too, red hot notice, red alert, folks. The CEO of Tubi is stepping down and they're putting some motherfucker from Fox in there.
No.
Yeah. Yes. I hate to break
I don't
it
know
to you.
who the CEO of Tubi is, ladies and gentlemen, but that guy is
Yeah.
within the top 5% of the humans we currently have walking on Earth.
Is he a personal hero of yours?
Oh, dude, Tubi's got everything, man. I think anybody who challenges that notion, as me and Nathaniel were talking about the story the other week, you just
Mhm.
simply haven't gone into Tubi enough. But they've got everything in Tubi.
They do have a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sounds like they're putting Foxes taking over at this point, and yeah,
Oh man,
painful
you
day
either
for the Tubi friends.
man, you either
I
what
know.
is it? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a villain.
Yeah, it's one of those we can't have nice things, and if you find
No.
something nice, don't tell anybody about it. Fucking keep it a secret.
That's sad.
Yeah, that'd be unfortunate. Tubi's. You're right, Blake. I don't think I go in there enough, but I'm I'm familiar. I've been there before. Yeah.
The international film selection in Tubi is just unparalleled. Plus, just like
Really?
weird grindhouse like movies, action in like horror movies you can find. It just like it's a collection of just like if you ever find just a random movie that like someone recommends, there's a good chance it's on Tubi for some
It's on
reason.
Tubi, man.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah.
And they even have like blockbusters on there every once in a while.
For sure, yeah. There's definitely some.
Like, you can go on there and probably find like older Nolan films,
Yeah,
things
yeah,
of that
for
nature.
sure.
It's cool, man. Inception, whatever. Maybe.
Speaking of older films, you guys watch any this week?
Is that you're transitioning to what we're watching?
It is my transition. Yes, it's a little segue. It's a little segue. Kind of moving
we
along,
sell
you
a
know?
little segue, but
Do you?
yeah, there's a little segue you can buy at work. There's been a lot of people
Got it.
buying electric bikes recently. What is it? What is
I
this?
saw we sell them.
Yeah, electric bikes and electric scooter. Oh, by the way, shout out. Hi, Leah. See you in the background. We have a Leah sighting on the podcast.
We do.
Yeah, she said hi earlier. I told her you guys were kind of waving, so she did a little wave earlier.
Hell yeah.
We'll do wave now.
Wow.
Anyway, Nathaniel.
Yeah. I really, you know what? I've not been watching much. Let's see. Last week, what did we record last week? Was it Tuesday? Yeah, Wednesday was at work. So yeah, caught up with Ted Lasso. Finish off Mandalorian. Season finale of Mandalorian already, which I was not expecting. I don't know why I thought it was going to be 10 episodes, but there we are. Tyler, you caught up?
I am.
Okay. Overall thoughts?
I thought it was pretty good. I think there was only one episode this season that I was just kind of like, this is completely and utterly useless. But other than that, I kind of like the direction that they're going. We'll see, kind of what happens. Or there's a lot of speculation that over the course of whatever they're gonna do next, whatever their next phase is,
Yeah.
that Mando might go away, and this is essentially become a Bo-Katan kind of Mandalorian story, and they think that Grogu might go with her. I don't think that would be the case. I kind of hope that's not the case. I do like her. I like her character, but I really like the team up of Mando and Grogu, and now he's got his name, so it's kind of like his next of kin, and so I like that direction a little bit more. But yeah, we'll definitely see. But yeah, I'm also caught up on that.
Yeah, it definitely this season felt like I like this season. I didn't have the definitely like I feel like there's been a general negative reaction to it, but I thought it was decent, but it's definitely not the same show it was the first two seasons. I feel like it definitely felt like this was like they were like, oh, we thought we were going to go this direction, but actually we're going to go this way. Okay, we need to close this off pretty quick and just finish this, button it up, and then we can move on to what we really want to do. And I guess that's the short way of saying it felt to me rushed in some ways, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like it was a lot shorter.
Well, it was. I mean, it's 2 episodes shorter than its normal 10
even
episode
then,
run.
I guess I don't know what they would have spread out.
Sure.
But yeah, it just felt just very yeah, I guess rush is a pretty good way to put it. And then Adam, are you watching this at all?
No, I have to go back and watch Book of Boba Fett and all that.
Okay. I
So
mean, this
I'll
isn't
probably
like
catch up eventually.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like a huge spoiler, but Star Wars is always kind of known for using actors and actresses that aren't very well recognized or well known to kind of keep you in that universe. And they kind of pulled away from that a little bit with a specific episode that was just like jam packed with a ton of people. Jack Black was in an episode.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, and then I don't know. All I know is Lizzo's name. I actually don't know what she looks like, nor do I care. But she was in that same episode. It was actually pretty funny because Leah came in and she was like, what the hell is she doing on here? And I was like, I don't even know who the fuck that is. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, that's Lizzo. And I was like, I don't fucking care. So yeah, it kind of sucks to see them getting away from that a little bit. But yeah, I guess we'll kind of see what they do.
Right. I'll give it a gander at some point. But I got other things I want to watch beforehand,
I
Not
hear you.
the Star Wars geek I used to be, I guess.
But anyways, continuing what I'd been watching. Yeah, so I caught up with Ted Lasso, caught up with Mandalorian. We are caught up with Critical Role as well too. And then really the only other thing I got to a movie called Tale of Tales. I don't know if anyone here on the pod would have heard of this.
I feel like I have, but I don't.
Well,
Give me
it's
the
on
description.
it's on Tubi. So it is a
Alright.
2015 movie. It is starring Salma Hayek, Vincent Castle, Toby Jones, and John C. Reilly. And it says, from the bitter quest of the Queen of Long Trellis to two mysterious sisters who provoke the passion of a king, to the King of High Hills obsessed with a giant flea, these tales are inspired by the fairy tales of Giambattista Basile, who I believe is an Italian poet slash storyteller. But it's basically all these fairy tales, like given the I don't want to say Pan's Labyrinth treatment, but like just like taken exactly as they are, played 100% straight. If you look up the poster or the movie on IMDb, the poster is Salma Hayek eating a giant heart. That is because in that story, her husband has to kill a water dragon and feed her the heart so that she could have a baby.
Naturally.
Yeah. So it's like
That's how all
it's
babies made.
it's 16th century logic, but with
Okay.
2015 special effects and costuming, and it's really cool.
And Salma Hayek.
And Salma Hayek, yeah, exactly. I really liked it. Like I said, it's 3 interlocking stories, but they're not actually related to each other. They just kind of take place in different kingdoms, and it starts very kind of like a fairy tale-ish, and then dips its toe into like horror and some other genres on the way out as well too, and it's really cool. So I recommend it. Another thing I got to was actually Blake and his roommate came over and we watched the Tank Davis Javante Garcia. No,
Hey,
Javante Davis, Ryan Garcia. And actually Tyler was over to start that night and watched some of the fights, the UFC fights with me, I should say. And did you watch some of the boxing or no?
I didn't watch the main fight, but we were going in between one of the boxing matches and
That's right.
The UFC stuff.
So yes, I did get to that as well too. And then I got to Evil Dead Rise. But that was that's been what I've been watching. Kick it on over to Tyler.
I obviously like Nathaniel just said, I was over at his place and got to hang out with Blake, and then he brought his roommate Tay, which was nice to meet him. Kind of put a name to a face there.
It's true.
We
discovered that Ellie is terrified of Tay's hair. She does not like his hair, which is fair. I don't think she's ever come across anyone with bigger hair before, and I think she thinks he was like making himself big and imposing to her. But then he had food, and she warmed up to him.
Okay, that's always a good cure-all. Yeah, can't blame her.
And then I got around to Mando. Obviously, finished up with that. So that was a nice little wrap. Like I said, I didn't overly care for one of the episodes, but other than that, it was pretty good. And I kind of like the way they're going, and I hope to see kind of what they do next. So anything Star Wars, I am obviously down for. Carolee and I finished Narcos. I haven't seen the third season or most of the third season, so it was nice to kind of wrap that up and finish that. She hasn't seen any of it, so overall, killer show. Love me some Pedro Pascal.
Right.
And we'll probably watch anything with him in it from here until the end. Finished.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I think he's that old, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a while.
Finished Doctor Stone, or at least season 1. I think there's a season 2 out there somewhere, but it's just not on the platform I was watching it on. So if there is one, I'll get around to it. Otherwise, season 1 was pretty dope. And then Leah and I got to Special Victims Unit as well. Just a couple episodes of some of the newer stuff that kind of comes out. I think it comes out on like Thursdays now, and they're still releasing like brand new episodes of that, which is pretty crazy to me. I think they're in like their 24th season. But I will always love Special Victims Unit. And then the only really movie I got around to is The Fifth Element, and I actually caught it on Tubi.
No way.
Great
All
movie.
right, I guess I left out on the Tubi train this week. Jesus.
Well, I remember when I think it was like 3 weeks ago, maybe almost a month ago, when I was talking about the anime movie Redline, and I looked
Yeah.
it up to where it was at, and I found it on Tubi. So
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what kicked off the Tubi train. And then the next week after that, it was Blake and Nathaniel kind of they were
Right.
like, "Well, fucking hey, Tubi." And so yeah, it's definitely got quite a few things on there, and yeah, it's a great little platform. So I hope it doesn't change too much with the new president coming in, whoever that may be. But Adam, you ever seen The Fifth Element?
I've not actually. That's one I've not gotten to that I've kind of meant to. You know, one of those that I
Yeah.
have quite a few of.
Isn't Chris Tucker's in The Fifth Element, right? Or am I
Yeah.
tripping? Yeah, he is. That's what I
Yeah.
thought. It was.
Yeah, he's like a radio presence, and he's got the wildest hair, and
Yeah, it's like
it was
blonde.
definitely it actually
Yeah.
changes colors. It goes from blonde to black, and then at one point it's like half and half, I think. So
Mhm.
he it's definitely one of the earlier blockbusters that at least that I saw when I was a kid growing up, where you actually like get a little bit of a cross dressing. You get
Yeah, for sure.
get Chris in like dresses and stuff like that, and so. But
Mhm.
overall, dude, I fucking Fifth Element's just insane. So I love
Ruby
it. It's such a good movie.
Rod. That's
And you
Chris
get
Tucker's
you
character.
get
Yeah,
early
I know that
on fuck, why can't I think of his name? You're
Bruce Willis, Michael Clark
no,
Duncan.
obviously you get Bruce Willie.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
No, fuck.
He's
Gary
the on the
Gary
entry list.
Oldman.
Gary
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman.
Gary
Gary Oldman.
Oldman.
Gary
Okay. Young Gary Oldman. It's a
Yeah,
rare
like
sight.
super young.
Yeah.
It's a
I
very
think
rare sight.
Gary
Yeah, and
Oldman's
there was
always
actually,
been 30.
There was one time, God, I don't remember when this was. This is probably over 5 years ago, where Justin was like cutting his hair a specific way and like letting the top like grow out super long. And Gary Oldman has like this like super big like comb over with like this plastic thing over his head because it's like
Yeah.
set in the future, and we used to call Justin Zorg is his is his name in the movie. So we used to call Justin Zorg
pretty good.
when he was going through his Gary Oldman phase.
That's
good.
that movie's got one of those lines that's not necessarily like all that like famous or anything, but it just like gets stuck in your head. And it's when the like Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich are at I think like a cafe before they get on the train to Flotsam Paradise or whatever, and there's just a robot that's just going, "You want some more? You
Yeah, they're
want some more?"
in the airport.
Yeah,
And it's actually not them, it's the priest that's sitting at the
that's right.
bar.
Yeah, but
And yeah, he keeps asking him. He's just like, "You want some more?"
yeah, just that intonation is just always stuck in my head.
It looks like a early Daft Punk helmet as well.
Right, it kind of looks
for
like
the
the
robot.
Yeah, for sure. I remember that.
kind of looks like the robot from Short Circuit, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the guy who they think is Bruce Willis's character, they're like telling him to put his hands on the wall, and then he just goes up to the people and he's like, "Smoke you."
Yeah. It's a great movie.
Yeah, that's all I got. Blake, what have you been watching?
Yeah, got to a few things this past week. So I guess we'll just start film wise. So one, I don't know if I brought that up last week. I don't know if I watched it Wednesday or Thursday before we recorded. Did I speak about The House of the Devil last week? Title of the film, or I think that is
That was me and you talking about it at work.
at the store. Okay, gotcha. So last week I watched The House of the Devil, which is an earlier Ty West film. We know Ty West from X or Pearl, other various movies as well. Honestly, really good movie. That's one that's kind of been on a radar for some time. That Nathaniel pointed it out, and Ty West just has a great knack for making, like, I don't want to say period piece because it's not like these films take place in the 1300s, but none of his films take place in modern time. They're all like 1960s, 50s, 80s, 70s, whatever it may be. And this one is just a homage to, like, 80s horror, where, like, the title card, there's freeze frames on characters. Really good movie overall, though. And Ty West is quickly climbing the ladder for one of my favorite horror directors right now. So yeah, if you can get a chance to see The House of the Devil, and if you're a fan of X or Pearl, please go take a look and go ahead and support Ty West. Also, a film that I watched on Tubi. So yeah, that's how we
Hey,
got to there.
remember
Another
the
one I
Tubi
got
thing
to
too?
was actually a rewatch of Evil Dead 2013. Didn't go back and rewatch the originals. I feel like I saw those a lot growing up as a child. Evil Dead 2013 is, I feel like I've been on record saying, one of, if not the best horror reboot we've had since kind of their original films. And yeah, that movie's awesome. Even just kind of rewatching it now, I can see why I'm a big fan of it. Back at the time in 2013 when it came out, played a pivotal point in my life, as well as just rewatching it now. Fede Alvarez is awesome. Jane Levy in that movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, it's not as camp as, like, the originals, or even like
Not
Evil
even
Dead
close.
Rise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
and I think that's why I like it. Evil Dead 2013 is like full on, like, slasher horror
Yeah,
film.
it is played straight down the middle. Like, it is
Yeah.
not no tongue in cheek in that one.
No, yeah, and one of the better parts of all the Evil Dead series, whether it's Fede Alvarez's or the new one, or got Sam Raimi in the originals, is going to be I guess we can just call them, I think they're Dead Bites. That's what
Deadites.
they're called. Deadites. Thank you. I think I'm mixing them with another term from a different film. But Deadites is watching them interact with the other characters and just the things
Yeah.
they say. And I still think Evil Dead 2013 has some of the best, I wouldn't necessarily say quotable lines because you can't really say them out loud, but they have the best interactions between the Deadites and just the regular cast, where there's one in the where the Deadite's kind of in the cellar and she's looking in the kitchen, and she basically tricks somebody and, like, cutting her arm off, and she's like, "Don't cut it, bitch." And I don't know why it is, but that makes me laugh every time I watch that movie.
Yeah.
And there's another line where she's talking to her brother in the cellar, which is a little aggressive as well. But great line. So yeah, that's what I got to film wise. Non-film wise, as Nathaniel mentioned, me and my buddy Tay, we got over to his place on Saturday to watch the Tank Ryan Garcia fight, which was pretty cool, and actually,
Good fight.
I guess, an okay fight.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
a
I
good
mean, it's
fight.
kind of what most people thought was
It
probably
was
going to happen.
decent fight. Weird
Yeah.
knockout. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that punch in real time. When I
Me
saw
and
the
all my
replay, I
friends
was
were
like,
just
"Oh
like, did
shit,
we
that's
miss
gotta hurt."
something? We were speaking pirating. We were on a illegal website. Didn't
Allegedly.
pay for it. Allegedly. And so we were just like, did the stream just like lag or something? Like, did we miss it?
Mhm.
Like, what happened? And then we saw the replay and we are like, oh my God.
Yeah,
Um,
that's gotta fucking hurt.
Yeah, I also saw, I can try to send it to you guys. I also saw like a YouTube video of like this doctor doing a breakdown of like kind of what that punch did to Ryan Garcia and how it
Yep.
just kind of all the force got absorbed by the liver, and it sent like a shock into his nervous system, basically, that takes a second to kind of settle in. But once
Mhm.
it does, like his entire body is just in shock and like shuts down, and like his
Yep.
heart rate drops, his blood pressure lowers, or all that stuff. Like just
The
a complete physiological
old
reaction.
liver shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I've
was.
caught that same video, and that doctor's done a lot of breakdown of like sports
Does he?
injuries and whatnot. Yeah, he
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about how like Odell tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, but kind of planning catching that ball.
Mhm.
Really good page as well, just informative on sports injuries.
Yeah.
For people who think things are like rigged or people are kind of BSing their injuries. But yeah, really good fight.
Load
Um,
management.
yeah, and even I kind of like the way they carried themselves afterwards. It seemed like there was a lot of like respect for each
Oh
other
yeah,
right
definitely. Yeah.
outside of the ring. So yeah, it was cool to kind of see some of that stuff going on. I think that's what boxing needs because boxing, I don't want to say colluded, but you don't really have like the greats or the quote unquote greats fighting the next greats, right? You usually don't see that a lot in boxing until people are old as fuck. And we got that with this fight. So it's a testament to both fighters.
Yeah.
Friday, so backtracking a day, I actually went to a Milwaukee Brewers Boston Red Sox baseball game.
Hey, how's that?
So actually pretty cool, man. So my buddy, shout out Cody, he was one of my roommates in college. He's from the Madison area. He now lives down here in Palatine with his girlfriend. His older brother is a huge Red Sox fan. So that's why they went up there. And his brother still lives in Wisconsin, so they went up there to check out the game. And Cody just asked if I wanted to tag along. I said, sure, why not? Tickets were only like $50-$60, and we were the third row behind the Red Sox
Yeah,
dugout.
that sounds about right.
Um,
You're in the nosebleeds at Wrigley for that amount.
yeah, so exactly. So he kind of sent me the invite, and I was like, all right, like what prices are we talking? 'Cause I'm just not the biggest baseball fan. And I
Mhm.
seen that. I'm like, oh, $60. I'll watch any sporting event live for $60.
Yeah.
So ended up getting up there. So that was cool to kind of see a baseball game live for the first time in I'm gonna say 4 years. 4 years, I guess, because it certainly wasn't the COVID season.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so yeah, that was cool to kind of get up there. First time in Milwaukee as well. Milwaukee baseball game, I should say. So the first time
Yeah,
in
they have a what is
they
it
play
called now? I
indoors.
think they got a roof.
Yeah,
It can open and close too. I'm pretty sure.
correct. Yeah. So it was
Yeah.
closed when we went up there for the game, but it was just really different being in a baseball stadium, baseball field that was set up that way. I haven't really seen that. I feel like the ones in Chicago are obviously laid out a little different being outdoor stadiums. But
Right.
yeah, overall pretty cool. You get an appreciation for sports live, especially when you're up close. So I was
Uh-huh.
able to pick my buddy's brains on a lot of things going on. Me and Nathaniel talk about baseball a lot at the stores. I've been able to like pick his
Yeah.
brain on some of that. So it was cool to apply all of that knowledge, like
Mhm.
slowly apply it in person.
Right.
I think I may have come away with perhaps my favorite current baseball player. Nathaniel, help
Careful.
me out. My man's name. What is it? Alex
Verdugo on the Red Sox.
Alex Verdugo.
I have him on my
That's who it
fantasy
is.
team.
Yeah,
He's a
Yeah,
stud.
he
awesome
went off.
guy. I'm rocking with that guy right now as my favorite. Granted, I probably only know maybe 10 to 15 MLB players. He
Yeah.
is now my personal favorite.
Why is that? Did something happen?
I think he hit a bomb, but in terms of just like going up there and just swinging for the fucking fences, like
Yeah.
that guy is trying to swing that shit out the park every
And you would have loved
time
prime
he's at
time
bat.
Javi Baez. Actually, you could probably still see him swing out of his shoes. He still does. So
That's the guy who used to be on the Cubs, right?
correct.
sounds familiar.
Yeah, he
Okay.
won the World Series with them, and
Yep.
then fell off quite hard after that.
Mm.
He had 2 good seasons, but he had the good seasons when we needed him to. So
Yeah. He's got a ring, man. That's
Yeah.
all you need.
While he was on the Cubs, he was, I think, objectively the most entertaining player in baseball to watch for a
Okay.
good 3-year span, just defensively especially. And then when he would hit a home run, it was insane. But like defensively and his base running skills, like he just makes stuff happen that was like holy shit. Like only Javi Baez could do that. That kind of thing. And his magic is his nickname was El Mago, like the magician. So, but since he got traded, he hasn't really been the same.
What team
And I
is he
don't
on now?
think he ever will. He's on the Tigers now. He got a
Is that
pretty
Detroit?
decent contract. Yeah. He's got a pretty decent contract after the Cubs traded him, and then or Cubs traded him to the Mets. He was there half a season, didn't really do much. They lost in the first round of the playoffs again, and then after that, signed for the Mets for like 141 million over like 6 years or something like that. or signed with the Tigers. I mean, and has done jack shit since. So he's doing very poorly now. But
Yeah. So nonetheless, I'd admire that guy getting up there. He had a huge fucking chain on, like a huge Cuban link chain on. So that thing's got to cost like $90,000. He went up there and just fucking swung for the fences every time. He connected twice. So I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of this guy.
Took some hacks.
Yeah,
daddy hacks.
and that's it. We'll go to Adam.
Yeah, I only got to a couple things this week. Was fortunate enough to get to finally finish the last episode 3 of Succession. So not fully caught up, but I did go back and finish that out, and then went to start another episode. And I was like, actually, I'm tired. I should go to bed like a responsible person. So I did. And then also watched. What did I watch? I had it on my list. Let me check it real quick. Yes, Ted Lasso. I think I've seen the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 3. Really good. I'm surprised no one's talking about this this season again. It's still great. They have found with what is his name?
Zava.
Zaba. Yes. They've kind of found a new element to add into the story, so it's not like another season of Ted Lasso, that kind of thing. And I'm excited to keep watching and catch back up. Really liking the season, what I've seen so far.
Good.
Yeah, and then I was telling these guys I started, but then fell asleep watching Evangelion 2.22, the sequel, or number 2 out of the rebuilds of Evangelion. So I'll get back to that and finish that out, and hopefully sometime this weekend, and get that back to you guys next week. But, of course, I also saw a little film called Evil Dead Rise. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment of the podcast. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, or maybe they've just forgotten, can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
What up, folks? If you're new, or maybe you've just forgotten, the way the review segment here on Back Row Banter works is it is broken down into 2 sections. There's the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over the movie, in this case, Evil Dead Rise. We'll go over its IMDb page, who's in it, who wrote it, who directed it, all that good stuff. We'll talk about, any, general plot summary about the movie itself, and then we'll go around and decide if we recommend this movie. It's got to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And from then on, it'll be spoiler time. I'll play the spoiler noise, and we'll go over into any big plot spoilers or plot twists or deeper thoughts on the movies themselves, and do come back and see where the movie ranks up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we have watched on the podcast ranked. Adam, tell me about Evil Dead Rise.
I would love to. This is a new movie, of course, rated R, and that's a pretty I don't want to say hard R because can't really do that, but it's a big R.
Yeah, I guess that phrase really has been kind of ruined, hasn't it? You used to be able to call things a hard R.
Yeah.
But we're not really.
It's definitely rated R. It is definitely rated R. A runtime of 1 hour and 37 minutes, and an IMDb rating of 7.3 out of 10. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. Of course, directed by Lee Cronin, who I don't recognize. Has he done the previous ones or any of the previous ones?
No. He's a newer director, I believe. I think he only has one other feature film, but he did direct a couple shorts on that Tubi series, which was produced by Sam Raimi.
Is this the Tubi episode? Are we sponsored?
We are indeed. No, not Tubi, not Tubi. I'm thinking of Quibi. Quibi.
Okay,
Sam Raimi had the 50 States of Fright, which were like these 10-minute segments that were going to be on Quibi that were supposed to be from each state. And I guess he directed a couple episodes of that as well too. But no, he is not a well-known feature director or anything like that.
Gotcha.
And this is the first time with him in the franchise.
Cool. Well, maybe he will get a little bit more notoriety after this one here. It's written, of course, also by Lee Cronin. So he did writing and directing for this one. Pretty big ask for someone who hasn't had a kind of a breakout project yet. starring, let's see the cast here. Mirabai Peace. Am I pronouncing that right? Do you know, Nathaniel?
Hold on, I'm pulling up the movie
I think
myself.
it's Mirabai. That looks right, but I don't know for sure. Mirabai Peace, Richard Crouchley, Anna Marie Thomas, Lily Sullivan, Noah Paul, and Alyssa Sutherland. Great, and then this is not in the order I thought it was.
It is not. But you
I
did
hate
hit.
this order of appearance bullshit, man. Just give me the stars at the top, please.
You did hit all the big ones, I believe.
Well, Gabriel Eccles, and Morgan Davies, and then Nell Fisher. I think those are the big ones.
Okay.
It did order of appearance, so it did the like cold open people at
Yes.
the top. Yes. Shout out to them. Great cold open. Yeah, that'll be it for the cast. Hit all the big names there. The IMDb summary reads as follows. A twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. That was just a lot. I don't even know how much of that pertains to the film. I don't know. A mediocre summary, I would say. I didn't love that one. I kind of got lost as I was reading it. I don't know about you guys.
I drifted.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely can't have that. Short and sweet. Anyway, yeah, it's Evil Dead. I haven't seen other movies, but maybe you have and know more about what to expect than I.
It's Evil Dead in an apartment complex. There you go. That's all you need
Sure.
to know.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Which in itself is a great concept.
Sure. Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And I think they did pretty good with kind of detailing of like how it could happen and why they're isolated, like with the building being
Condemned.
dilapidated and kind of
Yeah.
whatnot. But yeah, nonetheless, just the idea of Evil Dead and not taking place in a cabin in the woods is just an awesome concept.
Is that where they typically take place?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so that
Yep.
was the
cliche remote.
The
for a
Evil
cabin.
Dead, yeah, really kind of started the cabin in the woods as a setting for horror movies, kind of things. Like that was one of the first
Gotcha.
ones to really establish that.
Cool. How old is this franchise? When was the first one come out?
Oh man, 80
Uh,
maybe.
Not familiar.
I think the first one's 81 or something like that,
Yeah.
81, 82.
Damn, okay.
And they've got, help me out with this, Nathaniel. They've got 3 of these, right?
Yeah, there's
one, there's
the
2,
Evil Dead.
Army of Darkness.
Correct. Yeah. There's the Evil Dead,
Yeah, it
Evil
looks
Dead
like
2,
81.
Army of Darkness, and then the reboot, which was 2013, and now this one coming out 10 years later, 2023.
And then what's Ash versus Evil Dead?
Ash vs. Evil Dead is the series that is a continuation of the 80s trilogy. Though I think
Got it.
technically the 2013 one is like somewhat canon in there as well too. But it's I want to say Ash vs. Evil Dead's like 2016, 2017 in there. And it ran for I think,
Yeah, it's 2015 through 2018.
yeah, it ran for 3 seasons. It's really good too. Waz and I watched the first season and a half. I think he's seen all of it, but it's a really fun like Halloween time show.
Got it. That's more of a comedy, yeah?
Yeah. I would say the Raimi directed ones are more horror comedy than they are
Yeah.
straight horror for sure.
Gotcha.
Especially the second one. I think the second one's like
Yeah.
almost like full tilt horror comedy. The
Well,
first one,
Yeah.
it is a little bit. I think it's kind of a product of like the budget it had at its time. So like when you're rewatching it now, it just looks kind of goofy.
Yeah, and then the
Right.
third one is definitely like action comedy almost. It's pretty light on
sure,
horror.
Yeah, they definitely wanted to play into the common horror tropes and kind of play off of that a little bit. But yeah, I think they're all pretty good.
Oh, they're great. Like they all each have their charm as well too. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
definitely distinctive as well. Like say what you will about Raimi, but the man has style and a voice.
Well, that being said then, gentlemen, does this one have the charm you guys are looking for in an Evil Dead movie? Because like I said, I'm no expert. This is the first one I've seen. Just kind of went in blind, not even really knowing what to expect. Is this going to be camp? Is this going to be scary? The trailers looked scary, but I've heard it's kind of camp, so I really didn't know what I was
Yeah.
going to get.
It was
as
go ahead.
fans, what did you guys get out of this?
this is on par with what I thought it was going to be. I maybe thought it was going to be little less camp and more on par with the 2013, based off the trailers and kind of some of the promo I saw. But with it having camp in there, it's not necessarily unexpected because that's just way more in common with the original trilogy. So once it started to be implemented, I was kind of like, okay, I'm cool with this. I can get behind it. But yeah, overall though, on par with about what I thought I signed up for. Quick runtime. It's Evil Dead. There's a shit ton of blood. I knew the concept. I knew what I signed up for. Long story short.
Yeah, I think
Recommend?
that's one of the. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, recommend for sure.
I think that's one of the things you sign up for when you get an Evil Dead. Is the gore factor and definitely just copious amounts of blood. This one, I didn't really know what to expect going in. Just based off the trailers, I thought I was gonna get something a little bit more on the scary side. I definitely did get my oh shit moments, but nothing like overly crazy. Um, I am a recommend, but the stipulation is you can wait for it to get out of theaters.
Fair enough.
I don't think you have to go to theater. You don't have to. I think there's other things that are probably
This is probably coming to Tubi in a month, so
yeah, more than likely. But yeah, I think it's definitely worth a watch for sure. But you can get the same kind of reactions and pleasure just by doing it at home. You don't have to rush out to the theaters to go see this thing.
right. Nathaniel?
I'm a recommend. I'm definitely recommend on this. I think similar to Tyler, the trailers had me thinking this one was gonna be a little bit more intense of an experience than I think it ended up being, which would have been more in line with the 2013 one. That being said, I think this one strikes a pretty happy medium between the two kind of tones that the franchise has gone so far. In that, like, I think fans of the franchise will be pretty happy with where it goes overall. I think for someone new coming in, and bag me up if I'm wrong, but it does a pretty good job of kind of getting the rules down and being fresh, exciting enough, and holding your interest. But I will say I think I was a little I didn't know quite what movie we were in for. I think echoing kind of what everyone was saying. There was, based on the trailers, this movie could really go in kind of any directions, and I think it was not quite as intense as I was expecting, but I think it still did kind of scratch that itch that I was hoping it did in a lot of ways as well too, which I think we'll probably get into a little bit more in spoilers. But yes, it's a recommend for me. I think you should see it in theaters. I had a really good time with it. Yeah. Recommend.
All right. I'm gonna have to be the outlier here, people. I'll cut straight to the chase. I just don't think this movie is for me, and I don't think this type of horror is for me. I'd change my mind if I had more of a connection to the Evil Dead and saw the originals and whatnot. But had just going to this blind, which like there are gonna be people who are thinking about seeing this movie who just watch a trailer and go, oh, it's another horror movie, and I like horror movies. I'm gonna go check it out. As being a kind of like the surrogate for that viewer. This personally wasn't the horror movie a type of horror movie I enjoy. I don't, not that I don't know who this is for, because obviously there's an audience, but it just I know for a fact it's not for me. And I don't know. Like I said, I hope maybe if I checked out the other Evil Deads, I'd change my mind. But as it stands, I didn't enjoy myself. It wasn't. I'm not a big gore guy, and kind of just sitting there having to endure all of that wasn't really my cup of tea. So I don't think it's like a bad movie, and I've definitely seen worse horror movies. And I seems that all three of you guys are recommends. You guys have seen the other Evil Dead, so maybe that's just me not kind of being up to date with that. But with all that being said, just for me personally, I wasn't a huge fan. But I got some enjoyment out of it. It wasn't like I was miserable the whole time, but I just wasn't all in, and didn't particularly love it as I have kind of other horror movies that I've seen more recently.
For
So
sure.
I would say I'm probably not a recommend. This feels like maybe a movie I throw on with my, at like a Halloween party, and I got, a dozen or so friends over. You just throw something on in the
Yeah.
background, like haha, that kind of thing. But definitely, in my opinion, not something you need to rush out for. And if you don't have a huge attachment to the Evil Dead franchise, then don't. I don't know. There's other movies in the theater you could go watch right now, that kind of thing. So not a recommend for me. But I think that's more of a personal thing than an actual quality of the movie thing, if that makes sense.
Fair.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Well, with all that being said, I think we can head on into spoilers. That's 3 recommends, 1 not a recommend. Oh, there's a train.
And a ghost
He knows it's
train.
spoiler time.
Yeah.
Yeah, ghost train. Spoiler noise came a little bit earlier this week. But yeah, we're going to head into spoilers. So if you've not seen Evil Dead Rise and don't want it spoiled for you, check that episode description where you can find the timestamp I've marked, where you'll be taken to the ranking of the movie upon our glorious, bloody entropy list. Nathaniel, spoilers time.
I did a rim shot this week.
Cool. A what shot?
A rim shot.
Oh, okay.
Shit goes down.
All right. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that.
Sure
I
does.
wasn't expecting everyone to die. I
Welcome
thought
to
the
the
3
Evil Dead.
yeah. I thought the 2 older kids were safe, but guess not.
No, I
No
think,
one's
and
safe.
that was one of the things I liked about it, actually, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
I think most of the time audiences are pretty inured to, children in danger, children will be, okay kind of thing. And not this one.
Yeah, when children kill children, it's okay. It's when adults kill children that's the issue.
Yep. But infected tattoos. They are the they're the middle ground.
Right.
I like that I didn't know who any of the people in this movie were until I saw this movie. And
Yep.
then I found out that the mom, who I think does a great job playing both roles
Excellent job.
of cool mom, cool tattoo mom, and evil demon deadite mom. But I guess she's on the Viking series, which I believe Tyler has watched a lot of.
She
Recognize
is.
her, Ty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it took me a second. When they started really getting more close-ups, I definitely got to know. I was like, oh, okay, that is who that is.
Yeah.
And then right, kind of like right when you see her, I was like, who the is that? I know who that is. I know what your face looks like. Where are you from?
One of those, yeah.
But yeah, she's great for sure. I definitely like her as an actress, and this is pretty cool to kind of see her in a different role for sure.
Yeah.
So Adam, talk to me. When were you out? Was it the cold open? Was it was it 30 minutes in? When were you just kind of like, this is not going to be for me?
The whole scalp thing in the beginning really kind of set the tone early on for like, oh, this might not be what I was actually expecting. Because I was expecting to more just be jump scares. That's kind of what the trailer made it up to be. And like,
okay.
or like a possession kind of jump scare thing. And that's what I was prepared for. I was not expecting this much gore. And I personally just, I don't even like want to look at that stuff. So it's just like, it's not even that I find it scary or anything like that. I just get uncomfortable with like that much, it's not the blood really. It's more just like the shard of glass going straight through the hand, and I just have to see every second of it. It's just like, I don't need it. I don't need it. So,
Adam,
and again,
we're going to make a call right now. You should not watch the 2013 Evil Dead.
Yeah, I don't
I'm gonna go ahead and steer clear. Then that is one I will take off the watch list.
Yeah, if you if you don't want to see gore or practical effects, don't watch that one. That is one thing I will say for this one is I feel like the digital effects were a little bit, you could read them
You
a
could
little
tell.
bit easier. But I mean, that
Yeah.
is also kind
I
of
would
part of the Evil Dead charm too, I think.
I would say I agree. I don't think the digital effects were all that great, but there were actually there were some like good practical effects. The makeup was really good too.
Oh yeah,
Um,
for sure. For
so
sure.
they do blend it really well. But you're right. When they do use digital effects, it is noticeable, but it's kind of made up for in the practical makeup and stuff. But yeah, even beyond the cold open, I think what really sent me over the edge was probably the knife through the hand. That's when I was like, okay, we're in for this. And then it just kept going and it got worse. And then the cheese grater thing, all that stuff. It was like, it's cool, like great, you found a new way to gross me out. Like, congrats. But
I think based off the
it's just,
trailers,
I don't enjoy watching that.
I thought that thought the cheese grater was going to get some more play.
So
That's
did
what
I.
everyone
I
hyped
was
up, the
kinda hoping
cheese
it
grater.
was.
And then
Yeah.
going into this, I had also seen how people were saying that they did hype up the cheese grater, so I kind of knew it was going to be underwhelming. And then I saw it happen, and I was like, "That is underwhelming. Everyone's right.
Yeah.
This is not what everyone hyped it up to be."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I can see your point then, right? If kind of gore's not really your scene, then yeah, I mean, this would probably be hard to take in. But I still think it kind of hits home to anybody who has seen the Evil Dead series or is just okay with accepting gore in their horror movies. Because when you mentioned like, hey, I went in thinking this was gonna be a jump scare fest, right? Things of that nature. I don't really think there's a single jump scare in this, from what I can recall. Which coming from
There,
like the horror,
there's the one that really got me. You're right. I don't think there was that many jump scares. But there was one that I think maybe I just did to myself, where she's in the hallway about to shoot the door, and then she like, I was just expecting her to like maybe shoot the door open, they go into the room, and then she's at the doorway or something. But she like
Mhm.
turned and then was aiming it at the door, and then she came out. That one got me because it was
Okay.
sooner than I had
Yeah.
anticipated.
Okay.
That was
Yep.
like
I got
the
you.
main one for me.
Yeah.
Have
Um,
you go ahead,
and
never
that's a
mind.
little different. Yeah, I was gonna say even that's a little different. Kind of the more traditional jump scares we're seeing that's accompanied by like a loud noise, right, or like music,
Right.
the score dropping, really loud score, jump scare. So it was kind of good to not have some of that. But even as far as like the cold open, so I mean, there's a few things that have probably gone over your head on the cold open, where in the beginning, where you're kind of getting that point of view of like the drone coming
Right.
in on the lake. Kind of how that plays is that's when in the film, as you can kind of see, where the mom ends up getting possessed, is that's always the vision we get of the Deadites. So when you're watching the cold open, you immediately think like, okay, this is a Deadite point of view we have, and it turns out that like that's a fake jump
I
scare
didn't
because
put
it's
that
never really a
together.
person, right? And he's just flying a drone around. So like
Got it.
stuff like that was pretty cool to see. Well, they get you even a few like fake out jump scares.
For sure.
Go ahead, Ty. What were you gonna say?
A couple things that I liked were the elevator full of blood. I'm kind of hoping that is a Shining reference.
Oh, you
It has to be.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
you don't
It
get
has
to make
be.
you don't like even if it's not, it is. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of one of those
yeah, I was
things.
just about to
It's
say,
gotta
it's
be.
along
It's
those
shot the
lines.
same
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Whether you did it with that in mind or not, which
Yeah.
like I don't think anyone directing a horror movie should not be doing that kind of scene without
Yeah,
seeing
they
that movie
knew.
or knowing
They
of
knew.
it. Yeah, they definitely knew.
So that was cool, whether it was or
Yeah.
wasn't. It is now, and I appreciate it. So thank you for that. And then, have you guys ever played the game The Evil Within?
No, but I've
Yes,
seen games
that's one
of
of
it.
my favorite video games of all time, bro. Second one's very
So,
questionable. First one is awesome.
so in that game, there is a creature that it's a chick that just basically has a bunch of fucking hands and arms, and it's just crawling all over the place. It's like it's literally coming after you. And so when I saw the kids kind of basically like sticking their arms into their mom and then like basically becoming this creature, I was like, holy shit, this is that creature. Obviously, this one has multiple heads and you can kind of see where the body's infused into each other, which was pretty cool from an effects standpoint. But it immediately took me to that game. where the creature is just kind of constantly slowly chasing you and you're just kind of getting away from it. But it was that's a pretty cool creature to kind of see come alive too. So that was pretty dope.
See, I
Yeah,
also had a video game. You go ahead, Blake. You go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, that I was thinking the same thing too, Tyler, because I love that game. I think that's like chapter 12, if I can remember off the top
I
of my
think
head.
so
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
that level was super fucking hard too. It took me forever to get past that.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't, like, she doesn't take damage. You have to set her on fire, and she can like
yeah,
appear in different places, and yeah, so that's immediately what it took me to.
yeah, for sure. And even that scene from the movie, it gave me big vibes of The Evil Within, as you said. It also gave me huge like John Carpenter The Thing vibes of
Oh,
just like
sure.
the body horror of like something mutilating together.
Yeah.
Uh, that's actually one of my favorite scenes from the film. Is at the end when like the movie always tells the story through like the book pages, and then it flips to that page, and I kind of see like the morphing of the bodies. I was like, oh shit, I think this is gonna be what I think it is. You know what I mean? And then it happened. I was like, I'm sold on. But yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was also getting video game kind of inspiration from that one, but I was thinking of there's one of those in The Last of Us 2.
The Rat King.
No, I
Oh,
forgot what they call it. I think they
right.
call it a rat king because it's like that what can
Yeah.
actually happen with rats where their like tails get intertwined and then they
Yep.
form a giant monster looking thing. But yeah, The Last of Us 2 has one of those, or maybe I think it's the second one. I don't think it's the first one. Almost
I
positive
yeah, I think it's the
but
second one.
yeah, but that's where my head went.
Mhm.
But I'm sure it's a similar kind of idea.
Yeah. What do you and I guess this probably just isn't for Adam then at this point because he's not a fan of the gore, but like I even love I said earlier, I love the scenes where the demon or the deadites are speaking to the other characters, right? And they always say the like most grotesque evil things that can like pierce your soul. Um what about the sequence of events where I know, like basically like an entire second chapter, the mom who's possessed is like locked outside of the apartment. She's in the hallway, and you're pretty much just like walking through the peephole. Like I
Mhm.
thought that was a pretty cool scene as well because some of that stuff happens off camera that you can't directly see.
Right.
Um, as well, there are other portions where she's kind of sitting there and she's like bargaining, or not even bargaining. She's trying to convince the daughter to
She's
open
like
the
pleading
door.
with her.
Yeah. So, what did you think of that stuff? I mean, were you aware of like what type of powers the Deadites have and kind
I
of how they
yeah,
manipulate people? Like what was your thought process on
I had no idea what she could or couldn't do. She could teleport through the door. She somehow had like some sixth sense, so she knew when the little girl was standing there. Um, but then also didn't know where they were when they're hiding behind the car. That's where my head went, where I was like, the shot is okay. But besides that point, that I do like that sequence outside when you're looking through the people. That I will agree with you. That was really creative and cool. Not just I don't know if and there's anything similar in other Evil Deads, but just as like from a filmmaking standpoint, that's a cool little sequence to set up. And I think they did it very well. And then you see that little boy get thrown across with no arms. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm actually glad I just saw the second half of that part. Didn't really need to see his arms getting ripped off. So yeah, that was a great sequence. There were definitely parts, like I said in the non-spoilers, there were parts that I enjoyed of it. The other thing that I really liked was the ending. Like I did feel pretty satisfied with the ending with the wood chipper.
Good,
That
yeah.
was like an actual like, all right, let's go, like get fucked moment because it was just so annoying.
Shout out
Um,
Halloween Kills or Halloween
yeah,
Ends.
yeah, Halloween.
Which one is it?
Yeah,
Halloween
Halloween
Ends.
ends.
Yeah.
Halloween ends. Yeah. So that was a good sequence. Really like that.
Yeah.
But there were
I
things
figured
I
that would
enjoyed.
play a role when that was like one of the opening shots
Yeah, they did.
after
Yeah.
the cold open. I'm like
Yeah, I
think
thought
guy
that's where
died.
they were gonna be like, oh, the demon is hiding in there or something, and the earthquake opened it up. And I don't know. I was like,
Mm,
why would it be hiding a wood chipper? but
okay,
but it
fair.
came back around the other way. So
Yeah. I one thing I did find funny is that kind of once the earthquake happens and then the oldest son, right, he goes down in like the hole, there's a vault in the bank. He picks up the book. And nonetheless, I was trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, how are they going to go about this guy translating this book? Because that's always something that has to happen in every film. And I was like, and I don't think this guy's just going to open up like an ancient language and like read it. Where like that's like the
Right.
one fault I have with 2013. The guy pretty much just like opens it and like nails the fucking book off the top of his head. And this one, they kind of have the vinyl records. that play. But what drove me crazy is that as he's playing the vinyl records, and I think that's actually from my understanding, the voice of the priest in that is actually Bruce Campbell.
One of them is the one that says don't you know what that is? It's the Book of the Dead, and like warns and like shouts at them. He's Bruce Campbell.
Okay, I've got you. Thanks for clearing that up. So
Bruce
as
Campbell
far
familiar with him?
as
Bruce
Correct,
Campbell
yes.
is he's the main character, or Ash from Ash vs.
Yep.
Evil Dead,
Oh, okay.
and he's the main
Um,
character in the original first three.
yeah,
Gotcha.
which not even spoil. I guess spoiler alert for a different film. For Adam's context, and Sam Raimi, the last film we did of his was Doctor Strange in the
Yeah.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah,
I think the post-credit scene, like he bumps into a guy who's like ordering pizza. That's Bruce Campbell.
yeah. Bruce
Gotcha.
he was the pizza ball vendor.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Okay, he's not ordering
Yeah,
pizza. He
yeah,
is the
yeah.
pizza vendor,
Because I did recognize him when he popped up, but
Mhm.
but mainly just because like, oh, I've seen that face before. Didn't really get the reference. I assumed it was a reference to something. That all makes sense now.
Cool. But yeah, so while he's playing the vinyl records to kind of I don't know what word I'm looking for, to listen to the book or find out the language, because he can't read the native language, is that's being played like out loud on speakers and nobody else fucking hears it, because like the
Right.
part of
100%.
how did this happen isn't even addressed to like Act 2, where he
Yeah.
finally comes clean like, hey, I think this has to do with that book. But when he's playing the vinyl records, like it's fucking blasting off on his stereo, which earlier in the film he was blasting music on it and you can hear it throughout the entire fucking house.
Yeah,
It's like that
I
was
had
the
the
only thing
same
I was kind of like,
thought.
yeah.
And they also kept zooming in the speaker, like, man, it's really loud. And I'm like, okay, then show me someone else reacting to it, please.
Yeah, for sure. That was my biggest gripe.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
There's
it
a
was
lot of I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of that in this movie. You kind of have to let it go in horror movies, but there's
Mhm.
an absurd amount of like, all right, come on, in this movie.
Yeah.
But I just it is what it is in this. type
Yeah,
of movie.
my only picky one was when he went down there, and like you're basically
Yeah.
staring at a fucking
Yeah.
sarcophagus that has a bunch of crosses hanging about, and
yeah.
and you want to pull that out of there? I'm
For
out.
sure,
I'm fucking
yeah.
out, dog. I'm looking
Later.
for money in the safe if there is anything, or like old bonds, and then I'm out.
Yeah, for sure. Even like when they kind of like look at it briefly with the sister, and she's like, "You gotta promise me you're not gonna open that shit again." And he's like, "All right." And as soon as she walks
right.
out the door, he opens it. I was like,
Yeah,
"That's
right
just
back
such
to
a
it.
teenager thing to do."
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty funny. But I mean,
And he
as
dropped
far
the
as
pizzas. That guy sucks.
which guy? Oh, you said he can drop the pizzas?
Yeah, he dropped the pizzas, man.
I thought it was the sister, the older sister, that dropped the pizzas.
No, I think they said Danny dropped the pizzas.
Hmm.
Yeah,
could be
the
wrong, though.
youngest
It might have-
sister, I
it
think
might
she
have been
dropped the
the-
drinks.
Yeah,
She
she
dropped the
definitely did.
drinks. She
Yeah.
was trying to, demon.
What about, so one thing I was actually going to look forward to, and I was trying to, and I wasn't even sure what was capable in the realm of possibility of the Deadites, is when you meet the neighbors right in the first act and they mention that cat's in the vents, and I immediately thought, okay, that's going to play a role. But then I was like, can this thing take over a cat? And are we going to see?
I
a
was
cat
also
crazy as
wondering
fuck?
if there was going to be cat.
For sure. I almost would have rather saw that a little bit. That would have been pretty cool. I don't know how they would have been able to kind of take that any
would've been
further,
pretty
but sure enough, she actually just physically used the vent herself. But yeah, cool thing. What'd you guys think of the neighbors? One guy gets his fucking eye bitten out of his face,
Dude, and then the other guy
fucking pukes into
chokes
the other
on
guy.
it.
Yeah, that's the super campy shit. Where I saw that and I was like, okay, I know what I'm watching.
I mean,
Mhm.
that's pretty much almost a ripoff of Evil Dead 2, like a word for word,
For sure.
more or less. But yeah,
That was a funny little bit. That's one of those things where I was watching this. I was like, that is like so stupid. But then I was thinking about it, I was like, I'm probably just missing now I need to get on board with what this movie actually is, which is just gonna be that's when I knew for a fact that's what I had. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
Yeah. That was the camp.
that's when it locked it in for me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job with my kind of favorite part of the Evil Dead mythology, which is just the Deadites are just assholes. Like, they're just the fucking worst. Like, that's the whole thing, is that they are the evil dead. Like, they are dead people that are just evil. They're just dickheads. Like, and you can't really get rid of them. You can't kill them. You just have to just deal with them at that point. And they're there to just say the most vile, annoying shit that they can. Too. Like, I love that they're just petty jackasses too. Like,
Yeah, like right at the end, right before she kicks the fucking head into the grinder, she's just fucking dissing the shit out of her about being like a piece of shit like her mom.
Yeah, like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and then they just that's the cathartic thing for them is that, like, they're just dickheads, and you're just like, good, you should get your head thrown into a wood chipper, you fucking prick. Like, you deserve that. So I thought that was good. I like the Book of the Dead in this one. I think if you're following along with Evil Dead lore, it's never been the same book in each one at this point. So I think they said that they're gonna, like, the plan is based on how well this one's doing to, you know, do more of these and have the different kind of demons in the different books and everything.
Is this the first book with teeth on it? From like Harry Potter?
I think so, off the top of my head.
Yeah, this is the first one that's had teeth.
The Harry Potter book, really good reference.
Yeah. See, I wasn't aware of that. Went over my head.
Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban.
What else did I like in this one?
I do like that this tries to hit home a little bit with a plot and a backstory of, like, motherhood.
Sure.
Where the other ones, like, don't really have any of that. It's more so just like 5 homies in a cabin and we're just getting fucked by an evil force. And this is actually kind of like a family, so it's a little difficult when your sister's possessed coming at you. Like, do you want to, like, actually try to blow her head off, or are we gonna try to, like, talk through this thing? You know what I mean? So it was kind of cool to see that, as well as having, like, children involved and kind of the family dynamic. I did appreciate that.
I love that it's the not a normal family too. That everyone's a little weird in their own way. Mom's a tattoo artist. The son wants to be a DJ. There's a tomboy, and then there's the girl that puts stuff together. And she's just so precocious, but it's always creepy. Yeah, it's Daphne. Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do, right? That's horror movies for you. You always got to start with the folks on the outside of society as well too, and everything. I don't know. I like I said, I guess for going into it, I didn't have high expectations, but I think I was a little bit, once I, like, within 4 or 5 minutes, I settled into, this isn't going to absolutely terrify me. Like, I think I was afraid that based off the trailers, it would. That I kind of, like,
trailers really had me shook.
I kind of sank into more like, it's an Evil Dead movie, and, like, was a little bit more just pleasantly surprised by it overall. But yeah, I don't know. One day, Adam, we'll find that movie that gets you.
That gets me how?
That other horror movie that gets you. I don't know. I'll know.
There's a lot of horror movies that I like.
I know.
I think this is one of the first ones we reviewed on pod besides High Tension that I'm like,
I know.
They ain't.
Yeah, I know.
Which also featured a female lead with some sort of chainsaw mechanism at the end.
So maybe that's what we're just going into here, is that Adam's just...
Maybe he's just anti-women and chainsaws.
Anti-feminist chainsaw
women
wielders.
holding chainsaws.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on record that I am not
women.
Anti-women. Okay, I need that to be clarified.
Let's see, where do you fall on chainsaw women? Because
chainsaws, I could be anti-chainsaw. I could be swayed. All right,
Okay.
What do we need chainsaws for besides killing people? I only ever seen it, to kill people, and if you're cutting down trees, do it with an axe.
Get a bunch
like
of
a real
beavers.
man.
I think clearly what we've gotten to is women need chainsaws. Women need to be near chainsaws at all times.
Are you saying women can't use axes? They need a chainsaw to help them out, Nathaniel? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that chainsaw seems to be very effectively wielded in the hands of the ladies.
Gotcha. I see. Very good with the chainsaws.
All right, should we wrap this up? It wants to.
Yeah, I do want to say one thing that I did kind of, where I audibly caught myself knowing, like, oh no, it was at the end where they're trying to make it out the gate. And the little girl didn't make it and she made it out. That's like, when that happened, I was audibly like, Oh man. Just because like
No,
knowing this film, I'm like,
immediately-
I don't think she's getting back in there.
saw that
dude. I think
coming.
she's
I
fucked.
immediately saw that coming where she was like, run under the gate. And I was like, she's dead. One of them
Yeah.
is not getting through.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
I would
luckily,
just wanna say really quick.
I
Oh, go
guess
ahead,
luckily
Blake.
she made it, right? Little girl made it.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
made
it was the
Yeah.
ant and the littlest one.
That's what it was. So yeah, when that happened, knowing this film, I was kind of like, damn, well there she goes, man. But shout out to her.
Favorite kill?
Oh,
I mean, the sister, the one that gets Staffney right through the face.
yeah.
Yeah. As soon as that stick broke in the beginning too, I
Yeah.
knew that was going to be used.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you see that big pointy stick, I go, someone's dying. And I thought it was gonna be that little girl. I thought I low-key thought the movie was gonna start off with, oh, they're playing, and then she tripped on the staff and stabbed herself. And I was like, that's dark. But that's not what happened.
Nope. Instead, her mom gets
Favorite campy kill is definitely the eyeball and then the other guy choking on it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But overall, I would probably say the meat grinder at the end was so
grinder was
that was so
a lot of good payoff.
Evil Dead.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, of course, the spout starts moving, and so it's just like fucking spraying everything.
It's like raining.
So,
yeah, I like the shot from inside the car of the windshield where it just looks like it's raining blood.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a good shot for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
not
I'd probably agree with Ty
yeah.
in terms of favorite
It's hard
shot.
to
Yeah,
beat that
how
one,
about you,
but I feel like that's cheating taking that one because that's like the climactic
Adam?
thing.
Fair.
But you guys can definitely.
If I had to go against that, I'm thinking maybe the lady in the cold open is kind of getting like her complete of her scalp ripped off.
Yeah, that was pretty
Dude, that
bad.
was brutal. I was not expecting that at all.
And what she call her brainless, then rips
Yeah.
grabs one of the ponytails or the pigtails. Yeah, that's pretty great. I don't know. I feel like this is also definitely like dark comedy as well in there too. Obviously, as all
there's
the
a lot
all
there, yeah.
all the Evil Deads can be in some ways, except for 2013, which is again
I love
played
that
straight.
movie so much.
It's good. I got
I'm
it on the
actually
background
sad that
right
I
now.
can't share that with Adam.
Yeah,
I mean,
There's no way you're gonna like it, dude. If you're out on the gore in this thing, like, yeah, I don't think
that
it's
is
worse
one
than
where the gore is not played for any sort of laughs. It is like, hey, we're gonna rip your face off with this one, man. Like,
Yeah, I don't need that. I'm good. I might pass. Sorry, Blake.
It's all
I
good,
just
brother.
yeah. I'll watch another horror movie in exchange. All right.
You want to rank her?
Yeah, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, let's throw her up.
Do you want to see another one, I guess, before we get out of here? Would you want to see a sequel to this? Or would you want to see the Evil Dead series continue, maybe not set in, an apartment or a cabin in the woods? Should it be in a suburb house? Should it be at a
for
school?
you folks, I'll say yes, but for me personally, it's a no. I don't need more. But this was good enough to if you like I said, I like the film overall, just not for me. And if this is for you, then I hope you guys get another one that you enjoy.
If they can find a way to, explain everything like they did in this one, the earthquake obviously playing into the fact that they can't get out of the apartment building very
Sure.
easily.
Sure.
I bet,
Again with the
like,
records being able to explain like the language of the book. If they can keep explaining things like that, I think I'm pretty cool with it.
you could very easily do like a group of college students on a D term or something, or like a winter break staying over in the dorms or something like
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
Go to the school library, find the books in the artifact section, something along those lines.
Hey man, stay out of the restricted section, okay?
That's right.
I know what
Another-
fucking happens there.
Except if you're going for the Necronomicon or whatever. Necronomicon? Necronomicon.
That book's got to be in the restricted section at
See
Hogwarts.
anemone.
I don't know, dude. Harry Potter got sold a book with teeth.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Adam-
That wasn't from the restricted
Adam,
section.
you,
I mean,
you really
yeah,
seem
but still,
hyper
that's-
focused on the book with teeth. Do we need to talk about the
I
book
am.
with teeth some more?
I was very focused on the book with teeth. All I could think of was Harry Potter. And then
The book from Hocus Pocus has an eyeball.
That's true.
that's pretty cool.
More body parts on more books is what I'm hearing.
Sure. Put it in the sequel. Maybe I'll show up.
You just get a MP3 player made of a finger bone or something in the next one.
Jesus.
A little SanDisk player.
I thought they were gonna do more with the DJ tray. The little
Oh, the turntable?
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
thought
like
there
when
was
she
gonna be
put
more
her
with that.
fingernail on it and opened her mouth up and was playing the sound through there still?
That was kind of wild.
Yeah, that
I
was a
like,
cool
all right.
scene too.
That was
man.
kind of
Yeah,
that
I
was
didn't
kind of
notice
cool.
that.
Yeah. That was all right. All right. Are we ready? We
I'm
good?
ready.
All right. Nathaniel's ready.
If
I'm ready.
Nathaniel's ready, I'm ready.
Cool. Well, welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment. We're going to go ahead and throw up upon our Entropy list, a big list of movies, of all the movies we've reviewed up on the pod compared to one another. If you want to reference the Entropy list for yourself, you can do so by checking that episode description. Cool. Let me pull up the Entropy list for myself so I can make some edits to it and add it.
Man.
This is tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I think I got my spot.
What are you thinking, bro?
Let her rip, potato chip.
No, maybe I don't. So I'll walk you through where I'm at, where I'm thinking, because we've
All
got
right, where you at?
we got Horror Movie Alley down here from around 70.
75 through 79.
Yeah, 73 through 79, really.
Yeah.
And I think in my mind, if I had another movie, and this was actually a little bit of a thought I was matriculating on earlier this week. I was germinating. I think a lot of ways this movie and Prey are very similar to one another. Both kind of resurrections of older franchises. Both, a little bit smaller movie in terms of overall dollar amount. Like I think they said this movie cost like $30 million, which again in movie terms is not that much.
That's
overall.
not a lot at all.
Yeah. So it's I think, and I think it's interesting too. I think it will be interesting based on this. Like earlier, we were talking about the argument still for movie theaters and everything. Like, I feel releasing this to theaters in comparison to releasing a movie to streaming, like word of mouth spreads a lot better in movie theaters still, I think, in some ways. You know what I mean? Anyone
Sure.
else with me on this in some ways too? I don't know.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Especially nowadays that there's so many streaming services. Like it used to be just be like, hey, it's on streaming, well, it's on Netflix. Now it's like, hey man, it's on Paramount Plus, I guess. But you could get a free trial, or you could just go to the movies as well too. Anyways, long story short, I'm thinking of putting this somewhere around Prey, but then I noticed there's a lot of horror movies around it, and now I'm questioning everything. So, do I like it better than X is my question.
I
That
think
was
X is
my
way
line.
better than this.
I agree.
Oh yeah, I think I was actually rocking with this over X. Just in terms of like,
Really?
my type of movie. I'm not. Yeah,
I mean,
This
do
is-
what you want, brother. But
X is an
Yeah,
awesome
I-
slasher. Gave Ty West a ton of props earlier in this podcast after watching The House of the Devil. Yeah, I think I would put this.
But then I see like,
Rewatch for rewatch. I think I'm clicking this over X.
Interesting.
that's wild.
yeah. Then I see things like Die Hard down there as well too.
Dolph is awesome.
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then
know.
I see things as low as like fucking Trick or Treat at fucking
Well, that's
117.
that's obviously where I start out at every time. I'm like, well, there's Trick or Treat down there, just holding it down for the underground.
Yeah, I mean this is better than Bodies.
Oh, for sure.
And then like the Descent's like a hard fucking cap, bro. Hard cap.
bro. That's honestly the Descent kills me because I'm looking, like I said, the X thing. I'm like, I think I like it more. I like Viet Golf,
yeah,
XYZ.
Descent's definitely
But
the
then,
one.
like
that-
anytime I do horror to horror, I see The Descent, I'm just like, I just don't know, bro. I don't know.
We did treat that one poorly. All right, I gotta make a decision here. I think I'm gonna put this bad boy in there at 76. Below X, above the menu.
76, he says.
76.
I'm gonna be about 20 lower,
That's okay.
and I'm gonna be at 98. I'm gonna put it above Men and below Blind Spotting.
Do you like Scream? So is that just a product of the Entropy list, or do you prefer like Scream 2022 over this?
I'd probably take Scream over this.
Fair.
I think it's a little bit of both, though. I mean, like I said, you see Descent. Insidious was one of those ones when I first saw it where it like actually sends chills down your body.
Don't disagree with that.
And I mean, above The Conjuring 2, like it just there's no shot. So, and you guys know how I feel about X. You guys know how I feel about A Quiet Place. Prey was fucking awesome. The Menu still holds some good value. Fuck Malignant, but I mean, you got, but yeah, so I think, where this is at for me, I think it's a little bit of both, as far as, what movies I think actually should go above this, and obviously a product of the Entropy list, but yeah, 98.
Fair. Tough, very interchangeable, kind of where Nathaniel's at, but I think I'm actually going to go 75. So that way it'd be Prey, this, and then X. And honestly, in my mind, I think all three of those can be interchanged. The flip of a coin, depending on the mood I'm in.
Would you say 79?
75.
75.
My man said 5. Said what?
5.
So we have, what are these rankings so far again? Remind me. We have a
75, 76,
75,
and Tyler's
76.
97?
98.
98. Fellas, I hate to break it to you. I am rather low on this one.
Do you, boo boo?
Is he lower than High Tension? You want to take over-unders on this, fellas?
I don't know if he can be
think-
lower than
I-
High Tension.
I think this is above High Tension for him.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's close though, but I agree.
I think it might be pretty close too. There's this vendetta against High Tension, which I will also kind of hop on board there. I don't overly care for that film at all.
Too late.
Yeah.
I'm pushing us in the other direction. I'm finding the most exploitation style horror movies we can. We're going into the world of new French cinema next week. Martyrs.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, Adam would have that thing dead last. What do you think? What do you think, boss?
I think I'll do 123,
Okay.
which sounds low, but Trick or Treat's there. Halloween Kills is there, which I enjoyed more than you guys. It's below Wonder Woman, above Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Wonder Woman 2017, I think, is very solid.
Yeah, that's another film that I know Tyler's very low on that thing, but that's another film where I
Yeah.
feel like we've just kind of just
It
slayed
did get
that thing
sunk
to
pretty
the list
heavily.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Get fucked.
So that being there, and then Trick or Treat, Godzilla, there's just a lot of movies that I'm like, they're good, and I would rather watch those 100% more of the time than this one. So yeah, I'm just gonna slide it down there. But when we give our average rating, we'll get a even 93, right below Insidious and above The Notebook.
Don't
I'm
mind
glad
it.
it's right below Insidious. I don't think this touches Insidious in my
Yeah, it's
humble
tough.
opinion.
No,
It's
I
not
think
that
this
tough for me.
when we
It's
have
too
it like super spread out like this with kind of a thing, like obviously that evens it out a little bit too, right? Like if
It
anything,
does,
if
it
anything,
does.
that makes
Yeah.
93 a good choice for this one. So
I think
Yeah.
you know what? Objectively, I do think that's a pretty good spot for it. I think maybe a little bit lower. Blind Spotting is still pretty good in my opinion.
sure, but that's
but-
partially just the Entropy list too. I think
That's how the Entropy list rolls.
sometimes it just
Doesn't
you
give
end
a
up
fuck.
with a weird soup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very strange soup.
Yeah, Wonder Woman 122. We've got Wonder Woman below Thor, Love, and Thunder, fellas.
Yeah, I disagree with that one. Justice for
I mean,
Wonder
they're
Woman.
both dog shit, so I don't really know what the problem is.
I know what the problem is. It's you, Ty. It's you. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our review segment. That is well and over. Our next review segment is going to be a little film called Sisu. Sisu? Seesaw. No, it's Sisu, I think. I don't know. For sure. But
Susumi?
Suzumi?
That's a different one.
Suzume? Is that
Sasuke?
it? Sasuke? All right, we got to stop. Our next review is Sisu or Sisu, whichever one it is. It's from the creators of the John Wick series, and it's basically a John Wick killing Nazi film. Looks awesome. I'm excited to see it. I think it's getting good reviews from what I've heard / seen. But yeah, I'm excited to go see it. I think that's only in theaters as of right now, so go check that out and then come back with our review next week. Nathaniel, do we have a 5-star review?
We do not have a 5-star review, but if you want to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you'd like, you can do it so there. You can write anything you want. You could be mean, you could be funny, you could be nice, you could be cool. Just don't be evil. And we'll read it out on the podcast for you. So as simple as that, folks. 5-star reviews. It does help us show up in the old algorithms more. And, we are trying to grow. So we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Tyler? Adam.
Yes. I don't believe we have any emails, but if you want to send us an email in addition to our 5-star review, you also have that option. Our email is going to be backrowbanterpod@gmail.com for anything you want to let us know about. You can also share the podcast, share with a friend, a family member, a dead family member who has come back to life, or one who lost an eye. Who knows? Either one.
Or. Those
As
will
long
work.
as, even if they've lost an eye, they still have ears, so they're gonna want to listen to something. Now that they've lost an eye, they probably gonna lean towards audio things now. Anyway, after you're done sharing the podcast, follow us on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and subscribe to us on YouTube, where we are just Back Row Banter. BlakeHolder, where can the people find
Yo.
you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder, I'll be on there logging some things out of 5 stars, as well as giving a heart if I enjoy it. I actually gave a heart to Evil Dead Rise, so you can see I am pleasantly surprised. BlakeHolder is my name there on Letterboxd. PlayStation, Xbox, Instagram, Mr. Watercooler. Have not played Mortal Kombat for some time. I actually played today and got my ass kicked, so that's just a sign of a
Nice.
overall bad fellows. But yeah, that's it. We'll go popcorn. We'll go Nathaniel.
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Ninnis Gingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is my other podcast. And yeah, Tyler?
Twitch.tv/El Trabajo87 is where I like to play video games. Hoping to get the stream back up after this weekend. And yeah, it should be fun. And then we do have the new Star Wars game coming out on the 28th, which should be pretty dope. I played the shit out of the first one, so that'll be fun for me. And then Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd are all Tyler Vidalis, VID, ALES. Adam.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish, and on Twitch, it's just twitch.tv/Aish. That's going to be it, I think, for episode 144. Thank you all for listening, especially if you've made it this far into the episode. You're my favorite type of listener, and we really do appreciate it. Join us for our review next week of Sisu. We'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate everything you do to help us grow, and just be good to one another. And we will BRB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support as always. We wouldn't be able to continue this podcast if it wasn't for you. especially our listeners in Denmark. That always seems to pop up somewhere. So wherever you are, shout out to you.
Shout out Denmark.
That's all we got. We'll BRB.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Okay, so Dylan Brooks, yeah. Nonetheless, everybody fucking hates Dylan Brooks. Anybody who's like an NBA fan. So he came out and like basically, hey, I don't respect LeBron James. He hasn't given me a 50 burger. Basically, he hasn't given 50 points on my head. I don't think he's that good. So media asked LeBron about it, as you would expect. He was like, I don't really have anything to say about that. The reason I mentioned LaShawn McCoy is because, yes, he is an NFL player, but he's on a sports platform on, is it Fox Sports or FS1 or something? And some people kind of asked him about it. And then he just had a great stance that I love, because LaShawn McCoy is basically somebody, I mean, he's a future Hall of Fame player. He's like an all decades. He made the 2010 all decade team in the NFL. 2 Super Bowl rings. Granted, he was a little older when he got those 2 Super Bowls, but like Philadelphia's all-time leading rusher, ton of accolades, great player. And then he was basically just kind of like, since when do we let people who are in professional sports and average talk to people who are all-time greats? And it basically had like a lot of backlash, but it was a very valid point. Because he was like, Dylan Brooks has been in the NBA. He was like, for context, Dylan Brooks has been in the NBA for 7 years. He's known for defense. He has no NBA all defensive teams. He has no NBA defensive players of the years. He has no all NBA second defensive teams. He has no all-star appearance, basically just like shitting on his
Right.
existence. And like LeBron pretty much came out and agreed with that, but like didn't say like, yeah, Dylan Brooks fucking sucks.
Right.
So yeah, fuck Dylan Brooks.
I like him.
No one's a fan.
So
The worst part about it too is he's
did
having
LeBron
a
go
terrible
out?
postseason.
Did LeBron
He's-
go out and like put like 40 on him?
No, so he didn't, but he talked to him before the last game. And you can't really see what they're saying, because obviously in basketball they're aware of cameras being everywhere. There's no
Right.
helmet, so people always like talk through their jerseys like this when they're talking to each other. LeBron kind of came up and said something to him, and we don't really know, but he didn't give him 40. But I mean, LeBron had like
He did
28
22 and
points,
20.
20 something rebounds. Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
phenomenal
and-
stat line.
Well,
basically.
the Lakers started off that game up like 36-7. Like they just
They
in
just
the first
poured it
quarter
on.
scored. Yeah, and like they're not even just LeBron. Like after they got off to like a 15-point lead, and they just sat LeBron in the first, and then the rest of the team just kept scoring. Like everyone kind of he pissed off the entire Laker roster basically. They ended up kind of bringing it back. They had it within 7 at the end of the fourth. Ja Morant had like 40 not 40. He had 44 by the end of the game.
45, I think. Yeah, great
Yeah,
player
something
though.
like that. Yeah, he's doing
They
well.
started off bad, man. Hard to bounce
Yeah.
back from that.
Yeah. But yeah, Dylan Brooks kind of throwing it for everybody.
Good. I was wanting to know context on that, in particular why. I didn't realize the guy had been around for 7 years at this point already, though. I thought he was like a younger
Mhm.
kid.
Yeah, you can come in the NBA. You can come in so young, though. I mean, people are getting drafted at like
Right.
19, 20 years old.
True.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Dylan Brooks, average player, kind of made himself out to be a villain this year. Now he's a great defender. Long story short, no accolades to support any of this. I don't think he has a single achievement in being in the NBA yet. Still awesome, great player with context, right? But when you're talking to like a LeBron James greatest, it's
Right.
kind of like, all right, guys, like, what are we? I don't know. That's like Mitch Trubisky going on a platform and saying like Patrick Mahomes is not good,
Yeah.
and everybody's like, all right, guy, like, what are we talking about, guys?
Yeah.